We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such.
Are you serious? Like, we at season 7? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 seasons. Yeah, season 7. Magic number. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna go in depth with that, but yeah, this will be a very positive season. I don't know why and what's making me say that, but everything's changed. I'm still, like I said, stuff is very fluctuating now. I found that the connection with things is to get people to talk, as well as me taking time to talk. So you'll notice it, especially when you hear the first few episodes of this season. But it's just about sitting down and just having good talk, good conversation. Pass the message. Y'all know they ain't going nowhere. If you know, you know. If you've been around for a while, you already know how we give it up. But just hang in there. The content's amazing. The moves are even more amazing. And just put yourself in the right headspace to get this information. So hope y'all enjoy. What's going on, y'all? Episode 389 of The Pass is here. I'm your host, BT, and we got a very chill, fluid, calming episode today. Not going to be much to talk about. As you can see by the title, this will be kind of an impromptu conversation, but something that was, I guess you could say, laid on me to speak about, so we're going to just let it be what it be and hop into it. So this week, this is kind of going to be like a weekly check-in for this episode. I'm not really much to share. Ironically, it was kind of hey, I needed to get out the house and also had some things that I needed to take care of. So it was kind of like a inadvertent win-win type of ordeal. So literally, it's a little after 11. I probably reserved this room like 2 hours ago. Not gonna lie to you. And yeah, just really everything right now is in like a reflective state. So I'll kind of mentally timeline some things, and then we'll chop it up about what's what. So first and foremost, I have been, as many of you may or may not have been aware, we're nearing the 1 year mark of the workout health journey or process of trying to get like myself to a better number or just functioning at a better space or pace. Numerically, the weight has not, and this is open dialogue, so this isn't anything like I've talked to a couple of people about it, but it's nothing like now I'm just kind of putting this on wax. My weight has been in a very unique state where it looks like it's coming off, but then it comes back, or I'm doing things and I'm losing, feeling a lot more mobile than I was before, but it's still like I'm fighting myself in another avenue. But I say all of that to say, even with me not having my numbers where I think they should be, I can certainly and personally say that I personally feel probably one of my best points of movement that I've felt in quite a while on just simple things such as walking around, such as it's still those like little small things where you have to like really reel it back in, where you're like, all right, where am I at as far as lifting, reaching to the floor, or can I walk for a good period of time and not feel like I'm ready to pass out? Little stuff like that is probably the bigger adjustment more than anything else. But, as the saying goes, health equals wealth. I had a bracelet. I think I still have the bracelet. And I think I put it as health over wealth. But the truth is health equals wealth. And I'm beginning to get like a firsthand feel of that and how big of a deal it is. I will admit the workouts I did this week were probably a different level of push, but it was a good push and I needed that push. Because it was almost like it was able to motivate me through my work week and my routine of working out after work or before, like with the morning routine that I'm always emphasizing. So I've been able to get up each morning, doing my 15-minute walk, doing my exercises at home, consistently jumping rope. That's been probably like I'll personally call that like the aha moment. Like, wait, I can actually like do this. And it's got me to the point now where I'm even thinking about investing in like just having a jump rope in the car just in case. It becomes, and also let me not forget, I've also been doing my walks in the evening, trying to find like find a place like, hey, let me go here, do a quick walk, call it a day, stuff like that. I made a bit of a, I guess you can call it an executive decision. I chose, because normally so Wednesdays are usually what I call my self-care day. And what always happens is I'll do my walk that evening. Then self-care comes up. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out, hang out a little bit, might have a few drinks at a bar or whatever. And the next day, it's almost like, man, I am hurting. I don't want to move. I don't want to get up. I just want to chill. And that began to take its toll, especially because it was a transition between, as many of you all know, I work hybrid. So that Wednesday is usually my last day in office, transitioning into my work from home stature. So I've had that adjustment that's occurred, and just been able to see a lot of things a little different. As the age old saying goes, perspective. Really starting to kind of reel it in, things of that nature. Still not where I want to be as far as basketball. Like if I get out on the court, I can shoot around for a couple minutes, run after a few rebounds, but I'm not as comfortable and as confident as I once was being on the court. And I'm not saying that I don't, like, woe is me, I'm looking for pity, but it's just one of those things that I've like really started to notice how it can really hit you where least expected. And that's kind of the best way I can describe it. I'm about to try something real quick. I don't have nothing but free time. Study room. I think I'm in room F. I hope I do this right. We're about to see. If it works, it works. If it don't, oh well. But, oh shoot. Never mind. I can't see the room number. I was about to try something, but I can't do it. Because normally, so as many of you know or have heard me talk about frequently, I'm always doing my recordings from the library. And they have it where you can, set up and do all your stuff. But I was looking and I said, maybe I could hook up I could mirror my screen from my laptop directly to the monitor. But it's asking for a code, and knowing how they had the screen set up, it usually will have the code like rotate every so often, but that's not set up here, which is fine, no big deal. But yeah, back to the basketball part. I'm off track a little bit. The comfort of just kind of getting on the court, shooting around, still not there yet. At some point, I feel as though I'm really going to have to invest in like a good pair of basketball shoes again and kind of see how that works out. So looking forward to that and just, seeing how that goes. Somehow and someone asked me this question yesterday. Actually, she's been on the show before. She was on my 2020 year in review, friend of mine, real close friend of the show. She was asking like, how much tech do you have? How many technical or tech products do you have? And I was like, a lot. I'm like, I don't really know how to answer that, only because either I have stuff that I'm consistently using, and or I've gotten something else new to add to what I already have as far as tech goes. And the reason I'm saying it or starting with that is because I didn't really need to get it, but I'm always comfortably accustomed to using what I consider as the silent click mice or silent click mouse. And the one that I've just recently got introduced to is the M650L by Logitech. Most of y'all probably already know this. This is probably going to be a very random piece of information, but this is a way to look for products with Logitech. And I've kind of known this already, but it becomes a lot clearer when you are I'm almost like a brand ambassador for Logitech without knowing it. I need to see what they have in stock. We'll talk about that later. But any of their products, if you see the accessory and it starts with a K, that's usually going to be their keyboard. If it starts with an M, it's usually going to be their mice or their mouse lineup. So this is the M650, and they have like a smaller size, and they have the L, which is large. I have the large one, which even using it in my hand is not too, like, it's not large. It's like, oh my God, it takes up a lot of space. Like using it compared to, say, the MX Vertical, the MX Master, or just the regular MX mouse. Like the MX series, it's still a good size mouse. Like I'd say, comparing this to the Vertical, the Vertical is a much larger mouse in my opinion. But I was able to get this and immediately got a case for it. Y'all know I'm always big on. I'm always emphasizing the importance of making sure accessories have cases, and this was no exception. So that's what I have for that. See what else we got. Did some learning. Well, I mean, you're always going to be learning, but I'm doing some crash course since a lot of you all know I'm in tech. I've been learning some stuff with how to manage SQL servers or SQL table. Well, not the servers, but mainly managing a table. It was a table that had already been created, and just kind of adding some data to it. Right now, I'm in which will likely be my number one priority on Monday, of getting this information that I've populated onto the table into a Power BI form or report, and getting it to be displayed. So we're gonna see how that goes. I'm in kind of like a headspace of thinking of it as, all right, well, getting a table to come up, like what information obviously we want all the information, but are we wanting it to be displayed as the pie charts, bar charts? Do you want just a traditional table that shows the information? Kind of trying to piece that all together. So I'm going to be working on that. That's likely going to be the grunt of what I'm running into next week with work. Kind of an impromptu work update. I did not I planned to do a podcast, but I didn't plan to do a podcast because I'm really kind of chilling. I'm more in tune with the rest of the day because I have planning to hang out with my boy, with his family. Their granddaughter's celebrating a birthday. Pretty excited about that, and pretty glad to show up and support, and just do something and it's kind of like a weird way of saying it, but it's the honest truth. Like, it was hey, I got an opportunity to get out the house. Let me get out the house and do something. And here we are. So I'm going to utilize that time accordingly and try to behave of some sort. But it's I mean, they're two, so it's not going to be anything like intense, but just a good time, good people, just kind of talk, laugh, kick back, stuff like that. So, but overall, this is definitely gonna be a short podcast. Overall, things are going good. I don't think I have talked about it. So I'm gonna do two things. One, I'm gonna talk about give a bit of a sports update, and two, I'm gonna pass a message along to everyone. Send y'all on y'all way today. This is when I tell you, I'm probably in a really chill state, and I think because it's me trying to manage my mindset, manage my time. And it's not even about trying to mince words because, I mean, regardless of what I say, somebody's going to interpret it how they want to interpret it. But the Dame saga has ended, I guess we can say. And it was kind of almost interesting timing of how it all went about, because Media Day couldn't have been not even a few days after that. But somehow Damian Lillard was able to get the trade he requested to go to Portland. I mean, to leave Portland. He didn't go to Miami, unfortunately. He's going to be playing in Milwaukee with Giannis. They traded away Nurkic. They traded Drew Holiday was part of the trade. He was sent to Portland, but then not long after that, Portland, I don't think it was a buyout. They ended up trading him to Boston, and they traded him for Robert Williams, which still is kind of a strange trade. But hey, business and trying to figure out what teams do. It's not my dance at all. DeAndre Ayton, for some reason, DeAndre Ayton has a look that he's ready to play basketball since joining Portland. And I don't know if there was any like drastic changes outside of the norm with going to Portland, but I think it was almost like an inadvertent aha moment. Like, hey, this might be the move that I need to get the re-energized version of myself to show up for basketball. How do I feel about the name trade now? On paper, it looks good. I think this is going to finally get people to stop giving Giannis the worst time of he doesn't have a jumper, he can't shoot. They can let that narrative go. The X factor before was Drew Holiday. Now the X factor is Chris Middleton, because the Chris Middleton that we're seeing in Milwaukee, making all-star appearances, things of that sort, we didn't see that in Detroit. And it's nothing against Detroit. It's just, I think Detroit there are certain teams in the league that are not equipped or built to play. How can I say it? They're not developed in a way to give themselves the opportunity to win. And in my opinion, I think I would say Orlando, Detroit, especially with this trade, Portland, OKC, Washington now. It's definitely Washington now, because Washington's going to be in a major rebuild for a while. Questionable to say, but we'll see as the season goes along. Houston. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to say San Antonio, because Wembanyama in 1 year is not going to automatically push me to say, oh, they're going to the playoffs. No. Trying to think of some other teams. Like, out of the teams that I named, a lot of them have been on the bubble of playoff contention or just been lottery bound easily. If you look at Houston has been drafting top players for the last few years, and especially with the Kevin Porter incident, enough said. Detroit has Cunningham. We're waiting to see I'm waiting to see him do his part in being involved with Detroit, because they have. We hear the phrase young core, but having a young core but not having a good coach to lead that team, they don't you need those things literally to go hand in hand. And that's what we're going to notice or see with this team as it starts to continue. Orlando's been in rebuild mode probably since Michael Carter Williams. That's been when I observed the transition with them. And yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with those teams. But to go back to the Dame trade, like I said, I think Dame gives Giannis the ability to be a big man, but it also gives him the ability to. It creates a unique it creates a unique space when it comes to spacing on the court for both of them, because now you can literally run the most fluid pick and roll between those two if ran properly. And also you're bringing in a first year coach after they, and I think that's the other part too. No one's really talked about that with Budenholzer being fired. That kind of also played into it as well. And I'm always technical when I say this. It's always in the most interesting thing when you hear a coach, when the term gets kind of skewed a little bit, whether a coach is fired or if they step down. And I think in his case, he got fired. But Milwaukee was kind of in a rough patch to begin with, because I want to say, if I remember right, I think they got knocked out in the first round by Miami. And ironically, Miami went on to go to the finals. So there's your aha moment for the day. But that's what I have for that. Like I said, that's really all I have for topics. Really, I mean, it really isn't. I really have not, and it's not that I haven't done any research, it's not that I haven't done any effort. It's really been a slow news week when it comes to tech, music. If you want to, I mean, I haven't really listened to it enough to say anything, but Drake's new album is out. And anyone that knows me knows I always let the newness die down, let everybody kind of have their moment about the album, and then we can kind of chop it up about how do we feel about the album, do we like it, do we hate it, whatever. But right now it's not a shot at Drake, it's just how I'm looking at it now. The jury's still out. So that's that on that. And yeah, that's kind of been the main album I've heard. I haven't caught any other, or not heard about, but I haven't really caught any other mixes. Anyone who knows me knows I've been kind of on my, kind of been in that lo-fi deep focus space with listening to music. So that's kind of what that's been about. Message to pass along. Don't force your community, build your community. And I know a lot of people will say, but if you build it, aren't you building it almost, wouldn't you likely be building it by forcing it? And it's like, technically no. Now, if you want to be specific, sure, you can say it kind of is the same thing, and I wouldn't be mad at you for thinking that. In your life, you are going to meet people. And people are going to meet you. And you are going to evolve and become great people over time. You're going to go through your good times. You're going to go through your bad times. You're going to go through your highs. You're going to go through your lows. You're going to go through your ebbs and flows. All of that is fine, and all of that is expected to come with the territory. What you have to really sit with and work through is knowing that you got folks that's going to be there through whatever. We're going to have people in our lives. They're going to hang their head high on us, and they're going to really speak high about us when we're not in the room. Those are the ones you want. The ones that's talking about you when you ain't in spaces, they don't have your back, they don't have your best interests. Those are the ones you want to keep an eye out for and say, I want to keep a nose close to. I definitely want to do some strong room reading with this one, and not be so open. Like, you want to be open to and inviting to those who are deserving of the invites, but you don't want to make the invites too open where anybody thinks they can just come in and do whatever. Because once a person feels that they can do whatever, literally they're going to do whatever. And it can literally be one of the best feelings in the world, or it can be one of the most frustrating feelings in the world to experience it. I've said this I literally had this conversation less than 24 hours ago. I've started to pay more attention to how my connections have shifted. And at first I didn't, like anything, you don't think much of it. You're like, oh, I mean, I got people that I know. Ooh. Okay, before we finish this, sorry, because now I'm understanding this. All right, real quick, this is really, really, really brief. So Sonoma has, if anyone who's a Mac user, you are now able to use the new OS called the Sonoma version. Now, I installed it, I want to say at the beginning of this week, and I'll be 100% honest. When I first installed it, the only thing that caught my attention was the live background. The live background, you get that when you lock the computer or before, like if you open a laptop up and you see the screen, it's going to show like a live background that's moving. That part, I kind of looked at it and was like, all right, this is, it's whatever. I ended up making both my wallpaper for my main screen as well as my external monitor the default wallpaper. All well and good. No big, nothing to see here. Just another day at the office type of thing. As we are recording, because I saw this happen yesterday and I didn't pay much attention to it, I still need to like kind of get my hands dirty with this with the update. But it's definitely promising as to what you have the capability of doing with the update. I will admit that portion. Because when I first got it, I really didn't think anything of it. But now, as I'm using it, there are little things that it's like, oh, so you get to do this, or you have the ability to do this. And why I'm saying it, or why that kind of cut me off from what I was just talking about as far as pass the message, is I just kind of clicked outside of the program that I'm using to design, to record for Adobe Audition. And what it does is it makes kind of a better visual of your home screen. Like you can still see that the applications are open, but it's like, okay, this is kind of almost like a reset for a second. If you're like working on something, but you need to, this is almost like a way, and I never thought about this. This is a way of, if someone was to come up behind you and you're like, oh, not necessarily, I don't want you to see what I'm doing, but I need to hide all my applications. And it makes it a much easier process than what most of us do, which is either minimize every single screen, or if you turn the feature, if you double click the toolbar, it'll minimize it for you. But instead, just clicking off of it will put everything away, like it disappears, and then if you click it again, it comes back. Now, to be fair, I did see this in the keynote when they were talking about the OS, but I didn't pay much attention to it, not gonna lie. But going back to my thought, again, like I said, find your tribe, find your folks that's gonna be there for you. Make your check-ins more authentic and pure. And what I mean by that is, it's nothing ever going to be wrong with texting someone to see how they're doing. But a lot of times, a phone call literally goes a long way for a lot of people, because some people really latch on to and know how valuable a phone call can become. Because in many instances, that one call that you're making to them could be the call that they might have needed to get through the day or to get through their life. And I'm starting to, as time evolves, really see how important it is to like connect with people, because in many instances you could try to call someone, and in the process of making that call, not to think negative and not to push that as the idea, but the call may not go through. It's a song that Jay-Z and I think his name is the song is called Exhibit C, but that's not his name, the singer on the song or the rapper. But there was a song they did called All Praise is Due to Allah. And they abbreviated. And it was talking about Jay-Z's verse, when it first comes in, is referring to let's see, with Jay Electronica. That's what it is. I got numbers in my phone that'll never ring again. I got numbers on my phone. Cause Allah done called them home. So until we sing again, I got text on my phone that'll never ping again. I screenshot them, so I got them. I don't want this thing to end. When I first heard this song, and this was 3 years ago when this song released, I didn't give it that much attention or really push much behind it. But now, as I really have honed in on it, I'm like, he was really giving you a message in understanding, there are a lot of numbers that we have of people that we know that we want to get a message back from them, and we won't be able to. So value the people who are here and value the ones who are around. Do not deny or disregard where people are in your life. Don't shun people away for whatever reason. But then, and this is something that people do, and I think now is the time to stop it. And if you continue doing it, it's on you. But I think stopping it now would help you. Do not make yourself unavailable to people or communicative to people on sporadic conversations, but it's not consistent or genuine. But then randomly reach out to them because you need something. It's just not a good look. I'm speaking on this from very, very, very strong experience. Check on folks, genuinely see how they're doing, make conversation, make it flow, and be true to you. That's really what I'm emphasizing with this one today. Just be true to you, be true to those in your corner, in your circle, because really we are here. Time on this earth is very short. The earth has been going for centuries, and the time we have with it is very small and very precious, and it's going to move regardless of what we're doing. So that's what I got for y'all. I hope everyone has an amazing day, an amazing week. Knock out this fourth quarter, make it yours, and don't get caught up in the hoopla. Until next time, it's BT signing out.
Another episode is completed. Thank you all for listening. If you want to check out the podcast, you can go to buzzsprout.com. If you're looking to do podcasts, you can go to buzzsprout.com. To get to my podcast, you'll go to the Past BT pod.buzzsprout.com. If you're looking at getting a microphone, I always suggest getting the Blue Yeti X. That is the microphone that I use. If you're starting off and you need something more affordable, Samson Meteor, it's a worthwhile investment. And there are other microphones that are going to be simple enough. My big suggestion I tell everyone whenever looking for a microphone, be sure that your microphone has the ability to have you listen to your audio or listen to yourself as you're talking. It will make a big difference in your editing in your podcast. Also, most importantly, and I tell people this is a tip offline, but I'm giving this in the final listen or at the end of the show. Drink water while recording, and also just drink water in general. But drink water while you're recording, and the reason why, you'll be surprised. All right, see y'all on the next show.